Looks like we're live. Good evening, everyone. I'm Professor McCoy. Welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance II. All right. Please stand by briefly. There we go. Sorry, turning up my my headphone volume so I can actually hear the game a little better. All right, better. All right, welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Let's get right into things, shall we? Right. So um, I think that the first thing I will do is what I always say I'm going to do off stream and then seldom get around to doing. I'm gonna go sell off some stuff. I'm gonna go get some equipment, maybe make some potions, that kind of usual stuff, and then we just chat a bit while we're doing it. Because I think our next really anything is gonna be. Yeah, the Lion's Den. It is a major story quest. This one is glitched, unfortunately. This one is. I'm not going to do the fist fighting arena thing. This one we have to wait until we can next see Rosa, and that's it. We're just to. There's quest tipsters, I guess, but there's a couple of things we've already rejected, if I'm not mistaken. Unless, of course, this is the next tournament, I guess. That would be the only other thing, really. The skill teacher here that I haven't ever encountered. That's very strange. Anyway, though.
The others,
Yeah. But yeah, let's go to our. This is where we have a bed, right? Yeah. Let's go up to our chest. Let's get all of our various valuables that we want to sell, and I'll just wander around the city doing some selling for a little bit. All right, let's see what else. What do we got here? That's sellable. Now leave it. Keep that one. Those are all sentimental. These on Virgo. This is allegedly the Spear of Longinus, or the Lance of Longinus. I mean, it's not, but allegedly. Hunting bow, I'll sell that. Arrows, I'll hold on to for now. Brunswick stuff. Ooh, okay. There we go. We got a lot of armor. That was a gift. Keep it. Brigandines. Prettier brigandines. Well, let's... Way over encumbered. This is absurd. All right, that'll do. That's good enough. I'm over encumbered, but that's fine. I'm still decently quick. Henry's big and strong. He's a big, strong boy. He can do it. I just can't run. That's all. All right, where can I sell? Mostly armor, honestly. All right, armor shop's around that corner. Weaponsmith over the other way. But let's go to the armorer first, shall we? All right. Well, anyway. Anyway, so I will I'll bring up something that I know that perhaps I should not be paying so much attention to, because I'm sure it's not. It is mostly, it's mostly just drama, but still, I can't look away, kind of thing. That is the arguments and perhaps somewhat insane arguments in some cases, but the arguments nonetheless between no, not that. What is the... Hold on. What do I sort by? Oh, there it is. There we go. This guy only has 750 groschen. I can't sell anything. I can sell a single Kastenburst. That's it. Is there anything worth buying? Not really. So this is why. I suppose this is why I didn't, Yeah, this is why I didn't, I didn't do any of this off stream. Oh, anyway, so yeah, the drama is, the whole thing between Candace Owens and the Turning Point USA folks.
Word about
And it's the thing that I really like.
Das könnte vielleicht gehen.
I have been following, and I've honestly been following it more closely than I ought to. Because there's a couple of interesting points about it to me. A couple of things that are interesting.
Thank you, sir. And come again.
On the one hand,
My respects.
right,
Take a look around, but no fooling.
I think that Candace's points are at least... The points she is making are at least interesting. She is making all sorts of connections. Yeah. You didn't officially ban it. You just said stop talking about it, which respectable, really. Yeah, no, it's one of those things that, like, a lot of what Candace is saying is making connections where there are not connections, but also making other connections where there probably are. Right? And I will say this, that that I think both of those things are in fact going on. Oh, I do need some of these. Actually, no, I'll just I'll buy them at an actual armory, so I can sell better prices. Anyway, so she's making all kinds of connections. She's
Ready and waiting for you.
if we're to be uncharitable, she's having a bit of a mental break, and if not that, then she is going sort of schizophrenic in the more colloquial way. That is to say, making connections between things and recognizing patterns with reckless abandon. Now, what interests me about that is a couple of things. Something I've said before, what interests me about Candace in general, sort of as a commentator, is that she is not really that, like,
I need to sharpen this.
well-read or really intellectual. Like, she does not know much. She's actually somewhat ignorant of a lot of things. Oops. But that means that she is essentially discovering things as she goes. She's kind of stumbling through her discovery of everything, which is kind of interesting. It's interesting to watch because it's watching the process of autodidacticy, self-teaching, essentially. It's watching that process happen. which is a really interesting process. Now, that said, she's making a lot of connections that I think are really there, and she's making a lot of other connections that are almost definitely not there. Which, again, is kind of fascinating.
I'd like to do something about that prop. Wow. Is this enough?
We're nearly... Aye.
Okay, good.
I'm glad you found what you were looking for, sir.
For example, one example that stuck out to me, which is something I know a little bit about, which is what kind of makes it fascinating, is right before Charlie Kirk was murdered, when she was only just going off on the Brigitte Macron network of theories, primarily about Brigitte Macron being a man. Right, let's just be straightforward with it. Right, he's claiming that Brigitte Macron, that is the president of France's wife, was actually born a man, right? And we have a sort of Finkel and Einhorn situation going on, which I don't know. I'm not super convinced. I wouldn't be surprised. It is France after all. But still, I'm not actually convinced by her, by the arguments and the evidence that she has presented, such as it is. I'm not convinced that Brigitte Macron is actually Jean-Michel Trogneux, the brother, who like, usurped his sister's life, kind of thing. No, I'm not all that convinced of that. But in this investigation, what she did happen across is a whole bunch of really, really shady stuff going on involved with the Stanford prison experiments. Now, I know a little bit about the Stanford prison experiments. I've done some research on this for classes and following up with helping my students research this sort of thing as well. And I've long known that there's been a lot sketchy about that experiment, but mostly what I had found was issues with experimental design, interference by the experimenter, that being
I thought it was old Bart,
Zimbardo,
but then I heard him
the
coughing
professor
his
who did
lungs
it.
up in the yard again today.
Not a chance.
But then also,
That
like, it
is
goes further
wrong
than
with us
that,
all.
because I have actually, followed up on some of the stuff that she has brought up about this, that
Fit as a fiddle.
a lot of
My
the
respects.
participants in this experiment were not exactly, how do I put this? They weren't exactly the people you would expect to find in such a. They were clearly not all just students from the local university. There was a lot of outside influence. There were outside people involved. There were sorts of like mystery people. There was a lot of secrecy around who was involved in a lot of odd ways. What's with kids? Good evening, Emson. How you doing? But in any case, right, the oddity of it, really, the big oddity of it, the big oddities, plural, I suppose, of it, are not simply explained by this idea that Philip Zimbardo was sort of leaning on his experimental group, right? So there's a lot that was going on in that experiment that was very, very strange. So, yeah, it's there's enough to at least be extremely interesting. Let's go with this one and this one. No, this one and these two. Darn it. There we go. That's good.
I'd like to do something about that price.
We're doing math here.
I suppose we can try.
Anyway,
see?
so basically,
And you-
like, Candace is finding things like intelligence connections, military connections, connections to like the MK Ultra program, which is
He had his
honestly
whole life in
has
front
long
of
been
him.
speculated.
Next thing you know,
That there have been a lot of these psychological experiments that were taking place throughout the middle of the 20th century were tied in with a lot of intelligence operations, a lot of the CIA stuff that we know now was going on back then.
you shouldn't be out.
So- So yeah, it's fascinating to see her sort of stumble upon a lot of this wacky stuff. Now, of course, the problem being that she then connects it to every other wacky thing that she has found, and so she winds up thinking that not just that there's this crazy CIA involvement with this experiment from 50 or so years ago, but that this means that there was also this involvement with the president of France, the president of France's wife, who grew up to want to have murdered Charlie Kirk and planning to assassinate her too. Right. So okay, I think that she's making connections where there may not be sufficient evidence for real connections. But a lot of the how I envision it, right, is that she's envisioning this massive web of conspiracies. And it's not that none of the connections between things are solid. It's rather that what she's finding are a bunch of these little, relatively discrete conspiracies that may have tenuous connections between them, but are clearly not just all interlinked and interrelated, right? She's finding this web of conspiracies over here, which is weird on its own. But because this one is so weird, and then this one is so weird, she assumes that, okay, these are part of the same big superweb. Right? That, I think, is the problem with a lot of her conspiracy theorizing. Anyway, the other side of this is, of course, the Turning Point USA people who have now finally responded to her, and have done so in a phenomenally sketchy and dishonest sort of way. Which, I mean, if they are in fact trying to alleviate any concerns about either involvement or anything like that, they're doing a really poor job of it. Need these, right? No, don't really. Okay. All right, let's just go solely on weight. See what I can get rid of here. Oh my god, it's 400 groschen. If I get rid of those brigandine legs, it'll be at a loss, but it won't be that much of a loss. That's fine.
Word about the price.
Very well.
Yeah, no, Imsimp, you are allowed to leave early. That is
see?
fine. This isn't exactly a
Knew we'd
classroom.
make a deal. Thank you, sir. And come again.
Wait, on Sunday? Wait, what are you talking about? You slipped out the last few minutes on Sunday. I assumed you meant like the last live stream. What do you mean? Again, these 348. Is there anything at all I can actually sell here for a profit of some sort? No, not really. I'd be losing out quite a bit on like anything. This is the best I could do. I'd be losing over 200 groschen.
I'm glad you found what you
Sure.
were looking for, sir.
Wonderful day for a wonderful purchase.
Oh, the Sunday game.
Careful.
Right, okay. Right, our D&D game. That's what you're talking about. Okay, I forgot. I honestly forgot you were there. You were very quiet as kindly requested. Thank you, by the way. I'm glad you enjoyed it though. Yeah, Erica said, at one point you dropped out. Listen to the Sunday game right when Leanne was ranting about how disappointed she was in herself that she was taking prisoners again instead of just killing everyone. We all burst out laughing, saying he got a view of the real Leanne. Thought that was enough for the night. Yeah. That is Erica's character in our D&D campaign. Which, by the way, I've actually talked about this before too. In a serious context, in the context of this game in particular, right? That in a kind of medieval environment, taking prisoners in a kind of, police court jailing kind of way is, especially if you're dealing with like dangerous bandits, especially if you're out in the countryside, as opposed to like in the city kind of thing. Which, by the way, our campaign is now in the big city, so that does give a bit more of a chance for what would you say, for diplomacy and for more civil behavior. But in any case, right, the in this kind of period, which is more or less the sort of tech and social level of my campaign setting, it's a little earlier than this, frankly. But in any case, right, it is practically almost impossible. It is certainly impractical to expect enforcers of the law of whatever sort that is, whether that's lords, vassals, or whatever it might be, to like arrest people and bring them to jail, kind of thing. Like that didn't really happen. If someone was caught by someone with authority doing something, of sufficient criminality, punishment would be carried out then and there, and that might mean confiscation of whatever. It might just mean summary execution. And I will also say that the player characters, the party, kind of questionably does have the authority to just execute on sight. However, I will say that that authority could wind up getting like used up. Let's say, like it could lead to some relatively negative reputational consequences if it gets overused. Let's put it that way. See, that actually might be good. That actually is very good. Maybe I should switch to that, huh? Instead of the lamellar and the boots. That would give me a lot of wiggle room as far as purchasing goes. The old ones. Alright, yeah, let's go for it. Let's sell off a bunch of my crap now. Oops. But yeah, it is, like I said, it is a... There we go. More? That's too much. Wait, I already have noble plate legs? I already have noble plate legs, don't I? What in the world? Well, it's a good thing I checked. Those are worse. Worse. Yeah, see, these are just better. Why was I not... Where's my spurs? Where's my spurs? There we go. That's better. Alright, wow, I guess I didn't need to get anything new. Darn. Okay, whatever. Anyway. Hold on. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, right. No, I need to change this. I don't need my hose of the royal waiter. Noble quilted hose. That's fine. Royal waiter's coat. Gambeson. Pourpont? There. That's better. That is better. Now, what's the visibility for this? 10 versus what? 10. Alright, well, okay. Oh, wait. Sorry, wrong thing again. That's better. Alright. Well, never mind. I guess I didn't
Maybe
need
next
to
time, then.
buy that. Is there anything I do need to buy? I don't think so. Well, this seems to have been a waste. That's fine.
I was glad to be of help, good sir.
Closing. Last chance.
Oh my god. The clattering of the plate armor. Oh! That's actually pretty bad. Anyway, I'll get used to it, I guess. It's really quite something, though. Alright, well, I'm gonna see if I can sell anything right here, and then I'm gonna head back and put everything else away, because I gave up. Yeah, no, that's it. I gave up. Anyway, so we did also get to a tournament, or at least we started the big
you
tournament,
nuts.
our D&D game too. Which that is that's been fun so far. Leanne did not quite win versus the captain of the previous Kingsguard, which is the big dramatic. That's the real contest. Is the real contest. Also, let's say. Oh wait, I forgot about that. Let's say, how do we put this? Romanceable NPC. There we go. That's better. My proper nobleman's hat. Much better. There we go. Need the royal waiter's hat. I'm gonna switch to this Pourpont. Oh, the tire noise. Nah, maybe not. Okay, never mind. The oh no, he's hot situation. Yeah, that's a fair description, I think. Wait, hold on. Again, I don't. There we go. One more thing. Okay, now we can put everything away. Oh, I can read that. Can I? Or no? Let's see if I can read any of these books. Alright, I've already read this one. Okay. Let's try this one. Haven't reached the skill level needed. Okay. Fine. What is this? Book of Humorous Anecdotes. Gold book decorated in red leather. Rosa Ruthard asked me to bring her this book from the Malachal Fortress. Wait, I can actually read it? Ooh. Would this be a violation of trust? I don't think so. I know. I don't think I promised not to. Anyway, so I will also say that that Leanne, Erica's character, is has entered the Swords and Shields category of the tournament, the sort of weapon division. Despite being a polearm specialist, she has a hewing spear as her main weapon, and being extremely good with it, and having basically her entire build tailored for that in particular, so that she would be able to fight Jarek, the previous Kingsguard. Whereas she almost definitely would have handily won the polearms category. Let's see what this is about. Book of Anecdotes. Slightly humorous. Wedding toast. Unfortunately, I don't know the bride, so I can't congratulate her groom. And knowing the groom too well, neither can I congratulate the bride. Okay, that's quite humorous. What are you on about? On innocence, a young man tenderly embraces his beloved and asks, "Am I your first lover by any chance?" "Could be," she replies. "I thought I'd seen you somewhere before." There is a chance. Being king is not knowing. A certain Gutenberg gentleman once visited an old charlatan and wanted to know his fate. The charlatan examined his palm carefully and said to him, "I see that you are the father of 2 children. You're mistaken," he shook his head. "I'm the father of 3 children. "It is you who are mistaken," smiled the charlatan. Well, at least he's a charlatan. Repent. Adam's gender. Yvonne Wallenstein and Raymond R. Hart on men and women. As many, and men in particular, will gladly testify of the 2 genders, it is the female that is imperfect, prone to all manner of sins and faults. It is an old known truth that the testimony of many is a credible testimony, the truth of which cannot be doubted. But who hath appointed the woman her lot? God or man? Who has decreed that woman is incapable of thinking, acting, and deciding without the guidance of man? By whom was it determined that women are too foolish and vice-ridden to participate in matters wholly male, politics, science, or the liberal arts? Is such a resolution supported by experience or evidence? After all, no one has ever given a woman the opportunity to demonstrate the necessary judgment and wit. We have only conveniently condemned it as inadequate. We've made this judgment an established truth, which no one dares to question. We've witnessed many injuries to the daughters of Eve, and therefore may, or rather must, testify that the world is unjustly ordered in this respect. Men are fond of exalting themselves above women and attributing all sorts of wrongs to them, but only to cover their own faults. A man who accuses a woman of vice has slandered his own youth and licentiousness, squandered his own youth and licentiousness. In old age, these men recall with regret the sins of their past life without ever repenting of them. It is out of this bitterness that they denounce women, in order to humiliate and vilify them in the minds of all who are willing to listen to them. These corrupt old men are like incurable leprosy. Sounds like he's talking about Nick Fuentes. But even more than women, men prefer to elevate themselves above other men. For example, they claim that husbands who listen to their wives' advice are fools and deserve ridicule. But we say that a man who has a wife who is sensible and wise and refuses to listen to her is twice as foolish. So, I can see why Rosa, being a very forceful young woman, would be desperate to get this book back. A bit obsessed with it, perhaps. Though, let me see. Who's the alleged author of this text? A. von Wallenstein. Raymond R. Hart. These are not names I'm familiar with. Again, this is out of my historical period, but I don't know who these people are. Now, I will say that this sort of thing, this call it like 0.5 wave feminism, this kind of proto-feminist kind of thing, this kind of thing did come up in this time period, in the 15th into the 16th century. This is a little early for it, but this did happen. It was uncommon, though. I doubt it would have been published in this way. Oh, here we go. A Gravedigger's Jest. What do you call a woman who knows exactly where her husband is every night? A widow. On the wisdom of the elders, a father says to his son on his wedding day, "Remember, son, that a newlywed woman loves well and cooks badly. Wait a few years and it will be just the opposite."
Coming right up.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna take a sleep. The nice long rest music.
You shouldn't be walking around by yourself. Awful things happen here.
This is a very nice tavern. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I guess I'll go to the Devil's Den. I guess I'll ride there manually. Where's Pebbles? There you are, Pebbles. Alright. I guess I'll ride there manually so I can see if there's anything interesting that happens on the road.
Easy, good horse.
Is there anything else I need to do? No, I don't think so. Oh, this is taking me out the wrong way, isn't it? Yeah. But then again, I do actually need to go out the North Gate. Probably via Grund. Or at least by Old Kutna. Anyway, in the spirit of kind of what I was talking about with the Turning Point fellas being really weird, I think once again, what we've kind of been seeing, though, is just a bunch of unforced errors on their part. That they could have absolutely alleviated any suspicion of anything just by being honest and not being so weird. Like, okay, for example, the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk is 30-06. And the fact that there was no exit wound struck me initially, and struck a lot of people, as wildly implausible. That could have just been basically stopped. And the explanation given by... I forget who it was, but it was somebody from Turning Point. The explanation was that Charlie was just so healthy, just so dramatically healthy, that he had such strong neck bones that they stopped a high-powered rifle round. And, you know, that's tremendously stupid. Like, that's utterly impossible. Like, there is no reason to take that claim the least bit seriously. That is very clearly just making stuff up. And the question then arises, why? Why would you say that? And now you can give an explanation, and I'll thank my buddy John from Discord for pointing this out. That no, it is actually quite plausible that the bullet deflected, particularly deflected downwards. Huh? Oh, okay. Hey guys.
I'm all yours.
Okay. Wait, do you really want to do this? Really?
You
Okay.
can't stand.
What do you want?
Where'd you get a longsword?
Show what you're made of.
Okay, one down. Guy got a lucky shot on me, didn't he?
What do you want?
You want to try me? In God's name!
Alright, well, I need a bandage, because I'm actually bleeding. Shocking, I know. Not really supposed to happen, but... Oops. I oopsied there. There. Why did you attack me? Common longsword, huh? Yeah. I mean, 40 groschen, I guess. Okay. Why would they do that? That was unwise. Tremendously unwise. Whatever, moving on.
Quick, go!
Anyway, it's very silly. What's that? The Porsche? Oh, it's Grunt. Okay. Okay, I am gonna go through Grunt. That'll work. That's fine. Random smithy over here.
Quick!
Anyway, like I said, I don't actually think that that the TPUSA, anyone from TPUSA was like actively in on the assassination. I don't think that. But I can absolutely see how that might seem like a reasonable conclusion, given how like unbelievably sketchy almost all of them have been. My primary theory as to why is just that they have an interest in, what would you say? Don't want to be too dramatically negative, but essentially they're trying to take advantage of it, right? They're trying to be overly charitable, perhaps, carry on Charlie's legacy as they see it, which they see in a certain way because of their own political and religious inclinations, as a bunch of like hyper-Zionist evangelicals for the most part. But also as kind of political wonks, you know. And I do think that a lot of it is just sort of them taking advantage of, or not taking advantage, turning a bad situation to their advantage. Okay, maybe it's something like that. That's maybe a relatively neutral way of putting it. No, it's not a good thing. Like, it's bad that that is happening, and that is a vicious thing to do. But that's a far cry from accusations of murder. Right. But again, I think this is another one of those instances where Candace Owens is kind of going to the point of, hey, there are weird things going on here, and we need to make these connections to things. And she starts making connections, starts seeing connections that actually do exist, and connecting them way too far, like taking those connections too broadly. Oh, Imsep, you're lost on the storyline. I'm just talking vaguely, really, just about my general thoughts and really just more like feelings on the spat between Candace Owens and the remaining crew of Turning Point USA. That's really what's going on. That's what I'm kind of talking about. Because it's I don't know, if I'm going to take a side on the matter, I'd take Candace's side, though I don't think she's correct about a lot of things. I think that, let me put it this way, I think Candace is honest but mistaken. I think that the TPUSA guys are not guilty, but are nefarious in some way or another. How's that for some nuance? She's Catholic, so she's theologically sound. She's kind of theologically sound. She's a little bit wonky.
Slept well?
Quite well. And you?
Delightfully.
Her theology is a little bit wonky, but again, mostly it's just because she's not particularly well educated on a lot of things, just generally on a lot of things. Theology being one of them. It's not like she is a theologian or really even has a lot of theological background.
He's very much.
So the fact that she gets some things wrong theologically shouldn't be that surprising. From what I've seen, though, she is open to correction on those matters. Like, particularly from the church, that kind of thing. There's an alchemy table over here, right? Need to make some stuff. Yeah, there is. Good. Are you excited to finally have a physical Dewey Reams? I honestly maybe ought to get one. I ought to get a physical Dewey Reams. Alright, well, let's do some alchemy in the rain, I guess. That seems like it would throw things off, don't you think? Right? Oh yeah, I saw the illustrations that you were posting in Discord. That's very cool. Alright, what do I need here? Nah. I could use some Bane's Poison. Some more Bane's Poison. Oh, I don't have the stuff I need for it, though. Okay. You tried looking around local Catholic bookshops, but you recommend the one you got? I mean, just a link to where you got it. I'll have a look. I will say though, I have also been kind of long considering the Word on Fire Bible, just because it is absolutely gorgeous artistically. Cockerel. I need some cockerel. Let's do this one. Spirits, valerian, and 2 mint. And, okay, grind the mint. Boil for 1. Boil for valerian, and the valerian boil for 2 more. And then distill. Let's do it. Wait. Was it the valerian? No, it was the mint. No. Reset. Did it wrong. Darn it. Sim says, as I discern my calling, and I've always leaned towards being a husband and father, one thing I want to do is read the Bible with my future kids. Get excited when I see a Catholic material, like my first Missal Child's Bibles for Kids. Yeah. I will say, I have never been a profligate reader of Scripture. Really? And you know, maybe I'm not instilling that sufficiently in my kids. That is actually something I worry about a little bit. Just because, again, I haven't been. I never really was myself. You know? Yeah, I am a Thomist. Yeah, but that means I read Thomas Aquinas. It doesn't mean I read Scripture. I do kind of fulfill the, especially cradle Catholic stereotype of not reading the Bible enough. Turns. Also, I'm only a Thomist to non-scholastics. To fellow Thomists, I would not call myself a Thomist. I'm far more of an Anselmian, but regardless. Scripture, yeah, no, Scripture is supposed to be background reading. Like saying, oh, I'm a Homerist who specializes in the Odyssey, but I hardly ever look at the Iliad. I mean, sure, I mean, that's fair. But I will say also, though, at the same time, like, I have 5 of them, that's very good. I will occasionally just sort of spontaneously read my favorite books of the Bible. I find myself mostly going back to Wisdom, Ecclesiastes, and the Gospel of John. But those are the major ones. And it's not like I'm unfamiliar with the Bible. It's just, it's not what I do a lot of my reading of. Again, probably less than I should, I'll say. Alright. Handful of nettle and 2 of marigold. 2 marigolds. Oh shoot, it needs water, right? No, wine. Yeah, John has always been one of your favorite books, very theologically heavy. Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly my favorite gospel. Probably... It's certainly my favorite gospel. Probably my favorite book of the New Testament. I think it's fair to say it's definitely my favorite book of the New Testament. And then I think it's probably my favorite book of Scripture. The only contenders are the other two I mentioned, Wisdom and Ecclesiastes. I like to think John was old and writing Revelation, and Jesus egged him on, saying, "Finish us off, Johnny boy." Well, okay, I was going to say, I mean, he might not have known at the time that he was writing the last book of the New Testament, the last book of Scripture. But no, that's not true. Jesus tells him in the book that this is basically the closure of the canon. So, I'm still. Oh, that's right.
Must have messed up more than one step if it turned out that bad.
How did I do it that bad? What happened? Find the marigold. Oh, water. I used wine. That's why. Okay. That's why. Okay, cool. Great, nice. Great. I goofed it bad. Okay, so I do need water. Not wine. Water. Alright, so water. 1 metal. 2 ground marigolds. 2 turns each. Oh, I don't need turn. I don't need to boil the marigold. Okay, never mind then. That's all goopy. That's what's goopy. Okay. Okay, I see what I did. A lot. I did a lot wrong. What do you mean, if it's the end, what would come after? The new heavens and the new earth, presumably, right? I will say, okay, so talking about eschatology, talking about the end times and all that. There's obviously, I guess, a lot of just kind of, yeah. There's a lot of bad ideas. There's a lot of bad eschatological theories. Like the whole rapture theology and all that is quite silly and quite novel and quite, incorrect. And quite a stretch from Scripture. However, there are elements that, first of all, I will say, there are elements I used to just kind of wholeheartedly believe. I before I realized that it was a nonsensical novelty, I basically held to something like a pre-trib rapture, even as a Catholic, but mostly just because I didn't learn about any of this. Let's do it again. Do another one. Like I did not learn growing up that the whole anything about the very much at all about the end times. So I got a lot from sort of common media. a lot of which is evangelical Protestant, obviously, in the U.S. Now the other point, though, is so my eschatological theory, or I guess you'd say my interpretation of Revelation, of the Revelations of John, is what I refer to as cyclical preterism. So preterism is the idea that the Book of Revelation is actually about things that have already happened. They're about the past, or they're about things that were happening at the time John was writing. Rather than anything about the future, they're about what was going on in the church at the time. Now, this is a reasonable view. I think even somebody like Jimmy Akin, I think, holds to something like preterism, but I think that is too simplistic. I take the meaning of Scripture to be far more layered than that. And so I hold rather that... Do I need more of these? I think I have enough of these. I can make a few of these. I hold rather that that the Book of Revelation is, yes, about things that were going on at the time, about the Emperor Nero, about the Roman Empire, about all of that, right? But also, it's about general patterns of history that we will see in the fallen world between then, now, and the future Christ, the future second coming. Right, that it's talking about these long cycles of history, historical trends, things that we will see happening over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? So I hold things like the mark of the beast to refer to a lot of different things. Sure, it is the number of the beast is 666. Sure, probably refers to Nero at least, right? Nero Caesar. But the mark of the beast also refers to anything that is a sort of a secular shibboleth, something that is that the world requires us to submit to in order to participate in secular society. Right? And so I do think that, for instance, the COVID vaccine was the mark of the beast. I think that a central bank digital currency would be the mark of the beast. I think that all sorts of things that happened in the Soviet Union were marks of the beast. These are talking about things that happen, the way things go in the world. And so I think you can apply this even to the millennium, that there will be periods throughout history of Christendom, and there will be periods of tribulation, persecution. And I think we're kind of in one of those now, roughly speaking. Have been for the last few centuries, but then also that speaks to, right, because it's talking about grand cycles in history, right? Because you have Christendom, which was 1,000 years, funny enough. But then during that, you also had cycles, right? And now we're in kind of an atheistic age. There are also these cycles within particular societies where the church is on the rise, or the church is under persecution, or the church is falling in on itself, or what have you, right? So again, I think that it is, like I said, the prophecies, especially in Revelation, are not talking about one particular thing. They're talking about trends, the way things are. I think that in that sense, they're absolutely right. Okay. All right, so let me go back to this discussion you guys were having in the comments before I make this thing, because I might need to focus on making sure I don't screw this one up, because it's a complicated one. Yimsim says, the demons in my past tried to haunt me. Besides calling a leader of the Mormon church, came to my house. Luckily, I saw him and went to face him. He came asking for me, and my dad and I share names. My mom thought the guy in his 50s was looking for my dad. I confronted him, did not deny or confirm anything, just nodded as he spoke. Said I was busy with the gym. Not a lie, but I exaggerated how often I was going. So I sadly undid the morning's confession. No. I think I'll write that resignation letter soon, to be honest, or else this will continue. Yes, I do think that, honestly, if they're that intent, I would say so. Yeah, that does seem... I have always heard that Mormons do that kind of pressure tactics for anybody who tries to leave, which... I mean, it's not to the same extent as, say, Scientology, but it does happen. Yeah, no, Erica's right. That is not a mortal sin. That, yeah, you didn't lie. You just kind of admitted. You didn't even prevaricate, really. And yeah, it's very, very easy to become scrupulous about these things. Especially just coming back to the faith. Alright. 2 Herb Paris, 1 Valerian. Boil the Herb Paris for 3 turns. Grind the Valerian and add it for 2 more. And then distill. Okay. That's spirits. Herb Paris. It's 2 Herb Paris, right? Yeah. I mean, it is, so, to answer your follow-up, right, it is fine. It's acceptable to refrain from receiving communion. There's nothing wrong with that. But to do so unduly is not necessarily a good thing. The Eucharist is a good thing. It is the good thing. So, you ought to, if you can. And I think that that in a case like this, like Erica said, that is certainly not a mortal sin, and that to think of it in that way, to think of it as sort of undoing your confession or that sort of thing, is, I think that is spiritually detrimental, at least. No, I understand what you mean. Like, that even not just like undoing your confession. I mean, your confession still like took, I guess, but even in the point of thinking that means that you have fallen back into a state of mortal sin. I think that's incorrect, and it's spiritually self-destructive to obsess on those sorts of things and think about it in that way. It can lead to it. No, it can. Don't get the wrong idea either. That scrupulosity of this sort is itself sinful, because it's not in and of itself, certainly. Huh? There we go. And yes, that is also correct, Erica. The Eucharist forgives venial sin. That's what the first of all, the Confiteor, and then also the Lord, I'm not worthy that you should enter under my roof. That is also a the rest of the Confiteor. that is part of a forgiveness of venial sin.
Oh, you pooch.
May have let that go too long. The Centurion's prayer, yeah. Yeah. I will say, though, I don't like the retranslation of Lord, I'm not worthy that you should enter under my roof, rather than to receive you. Because receive you had that that sort of double meaning to it. Receive meaning like to receive in terms of like let to enter under my roof, to come into my home, but then also receive as in we receive communion. Right? Oh sure. Hey, no thanks. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to know about it? About the recent papal the nuncio? It wasn't a nuncio. The statement about Mary. Buck's blood.
That ointment of yours is a gift from heaven. Now they only ache when there's a storm coming.
Handy, isn't it? At least you know when to round up the cattle and gather in the hay.
Aye. When I'm old and infirm, folks will come to me for the weather forecast.
I heard about
Gunpowder.
a fella who always got heartburn just before it snowed. You could team up.
Soap.
All we need is a
Alright, that'll not do it.
get it up when it's going to be sunny, and we'll
You rude little
clear
bitch.
off, you mutt.
3 cripples, more like.
Take care of yourself then.
Off
Leave
you
it.
go.
Shoo.
Okay, calm down.
That mutt didn't bury you.
Flea-ridden beast.
What am I doing? Anyway, intense scrupulosity, to finish a thought I was having earlier, right? Intense scrupulosity can lead to sins of despair. In other words, it can lead to what we strictly call sloth. Essentially giving in to thinking that your salvation is essentially impossible, that your sins are too grave, that sort of thing. That is certainly that's a possibility. Just picked up 18 pounds of honey. It's absurd.
God bless you, sir.
I put most of that on pebbles. I don't need to be carrying all that much. I'll just carry 10 pounds of honey. Anyway. I should eat some, shouldn't I? No, 31. No, I shouldn't. I should eat some walnuts.
Master, eh, mutt?
Alright, so before I get into any plot stuff, No Thanks X was asking about what was just generally about the recent papal statement about Mary's titles, specifically about the title of Co-Redemptrix, and I believe also the title Mediator of All Graces, but I don't remember if that one was officially included or not, or if I just sort of was hearing about that one as well. But Co-Redemptrix was the main one that was questioned and was sort of abrogated, let's say. ImSim says, I know Tradcast say they will continue to use it, but I never used it for, or heard about it really until recently, so it felt weird saying it. Like how singers' music starts selling again when they pass away. Yeah, fair. And then Erica says, from what I generally heard about it, it was just saying that the phrase, while accurate and very narrow and specific meanings, was confusing, so please don't. It'll just confuse people. Yes. Yeah, no, I think the best take on it I heard was from Joe Heschmeyer of Shameless Popery. Let me write this down, because I'm going to put a link to his episode on it in the description, because I think he got it best. He had the best argument, really. And his point is, or was it Trent Horn? I think it was Joe, but it might have been Trent Horn. One of the two Catholic Answers guys. One of those two Catholic Answers guys was saying that that while sure this title is accurate, it's an accurate honorific, it also requires so much explanation that it only really ever causes scandal when we actually use it, right? It convinces Protestants that we worship Mary, that we think that Mary is equal to Jesus, that Mary is God or a goddess or all this kind of nonsense, right? And so when we have something like this that requires so much careful explanation that a lot of people just can't articulate, it sometimes can be better to just not do it, right? That is not to say that the doctrines that were behind the title are wrong or anything like that. It's not true. They are still, like, it is entirely still true that that Mary is, in the relevant sense, the co-redemptrix. That is to say that she is that it is through her that Christ came into the world. And so she is the mediator of the mediator, so to speak. That her fiat, her yes, her let it be done to me according to your will, was essential for God's plan of salvation. And that was up to her in that sense, right? And so she is, in that really limited sense, she contributed to the salvation of the world. And so she is, in that sense, in that, again, really limited sense, a redeemer. She helped to redeem us and herself in that sense. Because, again, she also was saved and sort of proactively by Christ's sacrifice. She was prevented from having fallen, that sort of thing. Yeah, if using a title requires all of that explanation, probably and more, maybe it's not all that good of a title. If it's more likely to get someone to think that you worship Mary, then maybe just don't. Maybe just don't. And this is exacerbated by the fact that a lot of radtrads insist on still using the title, not because they have a particular devotion or ever had a particular devotion to Mary Co-Mediatrix or anything like that. It's not like they had this particular devotion before. They say it to dunk on Protestants and the people who they see as modernists, right? But they especially say it to dunk on Protestants, right?
Just a moment.
It's a Chad yes kind of response, which is not useful when you're trying to evangelize. You know? I will say as well that Mary Queen of Heaven, I'm a little bit concerned that may have similar effects, and that is a title that I actually love, and I do have something in devotion to, right? But the fact is that when a Protestant hears us refer to Mary as Queen of Heaven, they assume that means co-equal with or even above God. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that at all. If you look at the role of Davidic queens in the Old Testament, it is very clear that means the mother of the king, who has a special relationship with the king, and therefore has a certain level of authority through him. But man, having to explain all of that is kind of a pain in the ass, isn't it? You know? Playing with my incense. So, yeah, no, I love the title. It is one that I really do love, and but also, yeah, it has kind of a similar problem sometimes. And it is also sometimes used, like I said, with comediatrics. It is often used to dab on Protestants, which I don't think is a good idea. As much as I have done it before, and it is fun, dabbing on Protestants is a good time. Like I like to joke that I celebrate Hanukkah, not because I'm Judaizing, but rather because to dab on Protestants for removing the books of Maccabees.
Greetings, Henry.
Then again, I don't actually celebrate Hanukkah, so whatever.
You're in a
It is a
hurry,
joke.
eh?
Okay, hold on. Back on the earlier topic. Okay. Did you find any issue with my Outpost of Zion post about Mary, or comparison to Bathsheba? Any comparison with any Old Testament figure is going to fall short of a complete one-to-one comparison, because no Old Testament figure is full of grace, right? It's not the Immaculate Conception. So the criticism that, well, no, Bathsheba is sinful. Yeah, I know. We know that. Of course she is. She's not perfect. So no, I do think that there is absolutely an antitype there. Certainly. No, I didn't think there was a problem with it. Let me see. So, okay, no thanks asked another question. I once heard a good argument that somebody can ask you to pray for them, so why can't Mary, who is alive in heaven now? Exactly, right. And that is essentially just what Catholics are doing when we pray to the saints. It's the same thing that we do with each other here in this life. We pray for each other. We ask them to pray for us because they're immediately with God. So, who better to pray? And yeah, Jesus attended the Feast of Dedication. Yeah. Well, I mean, Jesus participated in all of the Jewish ritual, the Old Testament ritual, to their fullest extent. Because he was there to fulfill that covenant, so of course he participated in it. Of course. I mean, yeah, it would not hurt to run it by a priest anyway, even if that is, Alex in Discord. He is in fact a real priest. I mean, really real.
A horse like that must cost as much as a farm.
Yeah, actually. No, actually, he was a little goofball.
Heavens.
Henry, you have no idea how glad I am to see you alive and all in one piece. I was really worried about you. I prayed to Our Lady the Protector to watch over you in Kuttenberg. It's good she heard my pleas.
Yep. Yeah, we met him IRL on our big trip last year. He's one of the only people in Discord taller than me. Yeah. Him and actually, no, that's not true. There's actually quite a few tall people in our Discord. Michael. Michael's quite tall apparently. So I hear. I haven't confirmed that. We've not met him in person yet, but I'm told he's tall. Oh yeah, no, that's right. Henry is a bit taller than me. Was Don taller than me? I thought we were pretty close. You might be though. You might be right. I'll have to go back and look at the pictures. Oh, who is Alex? Padre, as you might think.
Thanks for putting in a good word. It definitely came in handy, because it wasn't nice at all. Lots of violence and death. Countless
That is the
foes.
opposite of reality.
We could have easily kicked the bucket any moment.
God damn!
I'm
What happened
about
there?
6'1", and Erica is about like 4'3" or something, right, hon? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Actually, how tall are you? It's what, 5? You're what, 5'7" and a half? I think in reality, like in real world. Just Latin. Yeah, Padre is Alex Latin Rite. He's the Latin Rite priest from over in Louisiana, near Baton Rouge, I think. Oh, 5'4" and a half. 5'4" and a half. Yeah, that tracks. Hi, class. How you doing? I wish you were 5'7". I mean, 5'7" is kind of what the world is built for. So yeah, probably. I whine about this all the time. Okay, I have to whine about this again because it came up right. Being 6'1" has its drawbacks. Being over 6 feet tall, just in general. Being over 5'8" has its drawbacks. Um, the oh yeah, no thanks. You're 6 foot. You don't consider that too tall. I mean, 6'1" isn't like tall. It's not like oddly tall, but it's tall enough so that it can be inconvenient sometimes, right? So okay, for example, tables. Your average table. I actually run this by my students a lot. I use this as an example for when I'm talking about um, qualified versus unqualified perfections, right? So a qualified perfection is something that it is good to have, but it could be good to have something opposite or something else, right? It is a proper accident that is that's good, but it's not always and for everyone in every circumstance good to have it rather than not have it. An unqualified perfection is the latter, is the kind of thing that it is always and for everything and in every circumstance better to have than not to have. These are the transcendental qualities, pretty much, or the divine attributes. This usually goes back to Anselm. This gets used in a defense of his ontological argument that God possesses all the unqualified perfections, but possesses no qualified perfections, no mere accidents. And so when I use this to illustrate this point, I'll ask my students, okay, is it better to be tall or is it better to be short? And most of my students say that it's better to be tall. Okay, cool. But there are some who say no, it's better to be short, and there are some who quite reasonably say neither, right? And so I say, okay, raise your hand if you consider yourself short. So, and I'll invariably get some short young woman who is usually shorter than Erica, who's around 5 foot or so. So I'm like, all right, cool. Would you mind standing up for me? And she'll stand up, invariably, barely elevating, because you know how this goes. So I'm like, all right, cool. Should you do me a favor? Can you lean on the table in front of you? Just lean on the table. Like, lean like you're naturally leaning on it. And she'll just, lean on the table. Easy, simple, no problem. And then I'll go, all right, watch this. And I will lean on the table. But notice, if you're, honestly, if you're over about 5'8", to lean on an ordinary table, you basically have to bend over. Even if your arms are fully extended, fully straight, I have to bend over at about I don't know, that angle to lean on a table. I look ridiculous. It's not comfortable. And when I'm like, and I will, if I'm playing it up for comedy, I will also just I'll go into different, I'll go into a lunge to try and lean on the table. What is this, a little more comfortable or normal? Is this right? No, there's just no way to do it. So, and this isn't really a problem because maybe just don't lean on a table, whatever. But this becomes a problem if you're I don't know, washing dishes at a standard sink and having to bend over and getting back problems or things like that, So standard tables and standard countertops are too low. Then of course there's also the issue of bumping your head on stuff, yada yada yada, all that kind of nonsense that you would expect, right? Or fitting into places like Klaus, good example. Tank crews need to be short typically, especially with a lot of older tanks. Now, I don't know all the details of that, but I do know that you pretty much need to be short. Submarine crews, similarly, I think they tend to have to be short. At least relatively short. But yeah, anywhere where any circumstance where space is at a premium, being little has its benefits. Hockey is another great example. I don't think there are any professional hockey players who are not goalies, because goalies can be taller. But non-goalie professional hockey players that are higher, that are taller than maybe 5'7", something like that. There are almost never professional hockey players that are anything like tall. Just because you need to be low to the ice to manipulate and control the puck, and if you're tall, you're not as you're just naturally not as good with it. It's basically the inverse of tall people being really good at basketball, or not being really good at it automatically, but having an innate physiological advantage. Let's say short people have an innate physiological advantage playing hockey. Anyway, so all this is to say, being tall is not an unqualified perfection. It is certainly qualified, to say the least.
I don't know if words are enough. Simply, it was just like Skalitz. Confusion, screaming, dying, and then the flames. The worst part came when the gate fell. It was as if the bloody gates of perdition opened for a moment, and hell surged into the world.
God protect us. God damn it. I should have gone there too. I could have been some use at least.
I'm always glad to fight by your side, but you wouldn't have changed anything there. There were too many of them. And when the whole street was thronged, there was no stopping it. All we could do was try to hold back Eric's people as long as possible, so the locals could flee to the synagogue. See, there's a hidden tunnel inside it, leading out of the city.
Fucking tunnels. Ugh. But thank Christ for them. What about Liechtenstein?
He doesn't like the Jew
He's
tunnels,
fine.
you see.
And he managed to get those mysterious documents of his out. He left with the survivors for Colleen.
Praise God. He's from an old and glorious house. It'd be a dreadful pity if he got left behind. The main thing is you got out. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to thank you properly for coming to Malashov for me.
No need to thank me.
I beg to disagree, my brave and faithful companion. First and foremost, be it known that if you should ever similarly find yourself in captivity, I swear before our Lord Jesus Christ that I shall come for you as you came for me. And secondly, I have something here for you. A truly knightly reward for your knightly deed. A hunting bow that has no equal in the province.
Really?
I hope it'll brighten your thoughts after all those horrors. It can fell the mightiest buck deer and enchant many a doe. And besides, it has attached to it an enlightening history.
I'm honored. Thank you, friend.
Can I actually make this check?
Just a moment. This bow looks familiar. I believe I saw it among Margrave Yob's things.
Good heavens. You really don't miss anything,
he
do you?
steal it?
When I found out that Yobs would gladly leave me locked up, it got my blood
He
up.
did, didn't
So,
he?
to pay him back, I relieved him of the bow in Raborsh. And it was immediately clear to me that that bow should go to none other than you.
Oh, thanks. You're asking for trouble, though. Let's ask, what was this game made before or after the Jewish tunnels were discovered in New York City? I think that was during production, if I'm not mistaken. So it was late in production, though, so I don't think that it really could have had an influence on this part. But I will say that is a thing that has happened historically. That has been, that Jewish people have had a common use of escape tunnels. Which, I mean, look, I was talking about this last week a little bit. That it is kind of part of Jewish culture, especially after the Holocaust, but even before, to have this assumption that the world in general, but Christians in particular, want them all dead, and so they tend to be culturally paranoid about that sort of thing, right? And they'll act accordingly. And it's there have been times and places where it's been true, right? In what we saw in last week's in last week's plot of the game is, I mean, that is the kind of thing that did happen. They were often scapegoated. The Jews in any given city were often scapegoated when something went horribly wrong. That did happen. But there are also plenty of times and places where it's utter nonsense. Like right now. In fact, funny enough, I just saw a study recently, showing basically net opinion, like positive opinion minus negative opinion of different religious groups for each other. Like asking Catholics what they think of evangelicals or what they think of mainline Protestants, what they think of Jews, what they think of atheists, etc. Right, that sort of thing. And for every group, except for agnostics, the Jews were their favorite. By that I mean the Jews had the highest approval minus disapproval, or like minus dislike. I forget exactly how it was parsed, but their highest approval versus minus disapproval rating among every group, every other religious groups surveyed, which was I think it was divided by Catholics, evangelical Protestants, mainline Protestants, Jews, atheist agnostics, and other. I forget if it was other or unaffiliated was the last category, but it was the sort of last little catch-all. For every group surveyed, again, except for agnostics, whose favorite were atheists. For every other category, even atheists, their favorite group was Jews. That's interesting to me. That says something. And this was a U.S. study, by the way. This was in the U.S. That tells me a lot about the general public's attitude towards Jewish people. That it's overwhelmingly positive. Okay? Even though there are anti-Semitic people, sure, that happens, but I think that they're a vanishingly small minority, and that more people have an overall positive view of Jewish people and or of the Jews. Maybe they're just good at surveys. Look. A lot of this probably has to do with the anti-Semitism education and or propaganda, depending on what you want to call it. Right? That yeah, post Holocaust. I will say that. Oh, who was it? It was one of Barack Obama's speechwriters back from when he was president. Just recently was on some NPR show. And she brought up that Holocaust education has largely been the goal of Holocaust education should be anti-Semitism. But unfortunately, and she's speaking as a sort of Zionist here, unfortunately, that it hasn't exclusively done that. That instead it taught people that if there is a group that is oppressing another group, regardless of who the oppressor group is, that they're the bad guys. And I'm just like, well, yeah. even if it's the Jewish state doing it, yeah, they're still the bad guys. Anyway. Hi Grace, welcome. Welcome anyway. If you're late is fine. Again, this isn't I've said this before. This isn't class. You're under no obligation to show up on time. Oh yeah, that is true. That is true, right? So yeah, certain Orthodox Jews have Sabbath practices or Shabbat practices or whatever, where you can't leave the house. But if they expand but if you expand the house, then it still counts. So if you have tunnels between two houses, that counts as your house. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Is it true that Holocaust means burnt offering? Yes, originally, yes. That is what it originally means. Oh yeah, Erica, good point. I don't even care if students show up on time in real life. I would prefer they do, though. I'll at least kind of either look at them disappointedly or maybe make fun of them if they wander in halfway through class, especially consistently. It's not ideal. Anyway, Grace says might not be class, but I sure do learn a lot from this that I did in a lot of my university classes. Wow, that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I will say these live streams are not in the education category under like YouTube tags, but all my other videos are. So maybe I should move these into education. I feel like they would get pushed less by the algorithm, though. Fortunately. Then again, it can't be pushed that much less. I have 67 views. Oh, okay. Klaus wants help creating an RPG character. Need a name and token picture by Sunday. Yes. What you thinking about? What's it for? Give us some context. I'll spitball this sort of thing with you. If you're really looking for a token, you can just take a screenshot and use this. I will say I have used some very slightly modified characters from Kingdom Come as NPCs in my current campaign. So. Human fighter, white male. Well, here, use this. I'm not even kidding anymore. Is it not? Oh, Imsimpass, is it not sacrilegious to call the genocide committed by the German regime in the 30s and 40s a Holocaust? Isn't the idea that they had to perish so they could receive Israel back? Oh yeah, there is that. I think it's just sort of meant to be as a kind of. I think the term Holocaust was initially coined as a kind of as the idea that the Third Reich killed all of these people, Jews especially, but just everyone in general, as a kind of secular sacrifice for the purpose of something like social cohesion for the race, that kind of thing. And so there is a sense in which you can call it a Holocaust in that sense, in the full proper sense. But I think it is meant to be sort of ironic, darkly ironic. Okay, so I think it's I just learned more because I'm actually listening really hard in my classes because Boyd is not being able to naturally drown out unnecessary background noise like most people doesn't help. Yeah, I'm sure. Then again, I will say I hope that the background noise of the gameplay doesn't get in the way too much. Okay, so Klaus, character. Halfling Rigger, class created for this DM special setting, where there are 8 other power sources alongside Arcane. This fellow uses the technology source. Rigger uses remote control to move drones, turrets, vehicles. I conceived him as a daredevil character who makes money by driving clients around the wilderness. Okay, I can see that. Oh yeah, is it like Shadowrun Rigger? I assume not quite. In Shadowrun, the Rigger class is, if I'm remembering, it's been a long time since I played Shadowrun. That's basically the mobile hacker, right? Something like that. Daredevil character makes money driving clients around the wilderness. DM's taken inspiration from many places, so there's a good chance Shadowrun had some influence. Okay, yeah. There aren't halflings in Shadowrun though, so. Oh well, why would there be? Never mind. That was your contribution. That was your point. Never mind. How did I think of that? I mean, you can make a halfling for your token. You can make a halfling version of Ryan Gosling from Drive. That's a good idea.
Tivole. You can't just steal a bow from the Margrave. When he finds out...
If he finds out, he can complain to the Lord of Perkstein. And when I have it out with him, that bow will be the last thing on his mind, believe me. It'd be great to try that bow out right away. We could ride out together on the hunt. Wine, bacon, wine, deep woods, a quiver full of arrows, wine, shoot some deer and celebrate with wine, like we used to do back home.
We only went hunting together once.
Yeah, but it was memorable. Don't tell me you wouldn't like to do it again. But first duty, then some fun, eh? You'd better be going.
Well, here. I'm all about it. Sounds like a good time. All right, let's check this thing out. How is this thing? What? Ranyak's bow is better? Man. That's disappointing. It's a much subtler curve, too. Man, that is kind of disappointing. Can't believe Randy Expo is that much better. Wow. Okay. Oh well. Alright. Nice, though. Randy Expo is the second best in the game. Capon's bow has super quick reloading, though. First or second best, really. Alright, let me try. Because I have been using a crossbow. I'm gonna give it a try. Oh, I only have one ordinary arrow, don't I? Fine. Use these. I'm gonna go give it a shot, so to speak. Where's somewhere I can shoot? There's a shooting range over here, right? There's some targets over yonder. Hey. Can I shoot these? I want to shoot these. Alright, never mind. Find something else. Here, the hay bale. We'll just shoot this. That's pretty quick. All right. Let me try Ranyx. Oh, whoops.
Lucky me. I could use this.
You're taking my arrows!
My God! It was you that was shooting, I'm sure of it!
Hey, will you stop it?
You can't step. Ah! Ah!
No, wait, no, God!
That mutt bit me!
Mercy!
Stop!
Fucking brute! I'll fix you! Cough up some coin, or I'll turn you in
What
and
the
you'll pay for it
fuck?
in the pillory!
Okay, you know what? Here,
Now
just...
hold on. I'll pay you.
And don't think that.
Okay, fine. Just take some money. Just leave my arrows alone, you bastard.
Clear off.
These are mine. I shot them. Fucking
Be
crazy
on your
person.
way.
No, you, go away. Oh, come on, man, I can't get my arrow. Anyway, I think I'm gonna stick with Ranyx.
Why am I even wasting time with you?
Shut up. Go away, weirdo. No one likes you. I could have killed you and hidden your body, and no one would have ever known. You're very lucky. You know that? Extremely lucky. Good Bianca. Hey, look! Here are targets I can shoot. Would you look at that? I should have come over here and shot at the targets. Well, that is a little bit slower, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's way faster. And I'm just bad at arrows, so it's fine. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this. Why not? Let's go for it. And I'll also switch to wounding arrows. And I will posy on them. Cool. Whole bunch of horrifically poisoned arrows. Yay! Anyway. I heard bows in this game are a combo of power and time. I never played number 2. Yeah, it doesn't give you a draw time stat, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, no, I actually think that is probably a little bit better, just because of the draw time. I will say though, the draw time on the Artemis crossbow, which I have been using, is tremendously long. Tremendously long. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty nice, but it's because it's powerful and you get it right away with the DLC, the starting DLC, but like day 1 DLC thing, or no, not DLC, the deluxe edition thing. That's it. But yeah, shooting poison arrow, then draw time is the most important. Yeah, I figured. Christ, the other thing you remember is the night mission when both Henry and his companion were mind-numbingly drunk and hallucinating. Oh yeah, the gypsy guy. Gypsy guy. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. No. I am going to stick with the Artemis crossbow there. I'm just going to switch the bolts. Poison bolts. Wait. Hunting bow. Wounding arrow. There we go. Okay, that's fine. Sword and board. Nice. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. There. Alright. Cool. That'll work. It'll work well. Alright, onward we go. And we're back.
How is my favorite guy?
A fool says what he knows. A wise man knows what he says.
My word. So, you and Henry
Well,
are
you want another?
Did he tell you that, or did you figure that out yourself? Stop with the mockery and answer when a nobleman asks you something.
But of course. Forgive me my insolence, my lord. Martin was my father and his
You're still
stepfather.
being insolent.
That's about it. There's no common blood.
Well, you'd better not forget that then.
And what exactly is this noble gentleman so worried about? Does it bother you that you no longer have Henry all to yourself to push around?
Tripe like that isn't even worthy of an
The day is
answer.
waning. Let us see what the next one shall bring.
Definitely something good.
Ah, an optimistic mind. Exactly like mine.
I do admit I like the Frenchman. I do like the Frenchman.
What do you think of our band of outcasts?
Well, I cannot say I expected to end up in this kind of company. I am more used to royal courts or at least wealthy burghers. But a man must accept his destiny as it comes.
Does he have that sword I gave him still? Because I gave him a noble sword, I think. I think he still got it.
What do you think of Zizka?
The Chevalier Jan.
That guy, yeah,
Well,
that one right there.
He's not doing badly for a minor nobleman, but I think he will never be accepted among the higher nobles and knights. That takes a lot more. Mark my words. I am a good judge of people.
Even when you're this drunk? I am not gonna say that. Phrasing. Okay, no.
How do you get on with Sir Hans?
Oh, young Lord Chapon may be inexperienced and hot-headed at times, but he's the one of the few here who knows how to play chess. And I have a great respect for chess players. Needless to say, he has not managed to beat me yet. Godwin and Jiska can also play. Ah, and that devil in press clothing beat me. Merde.
Have you met Godwin?
The priest who is very skilled with a sword. Priests should not be such good swordsmen. That is what knights like me are for. In addition, he can play chess just as well as he wields a sword. And in drinking wine, he beats even the best Frenchmen. A man of talents. Or perhaps the devil is behind it.
Excuse me, Shishka? I refuse to say those words. I'm not saying that.
What do you think of Sir Hinek?
Ah, le diable sec. A capable chevalier. But I do not trust him. There is treachery in his eyes.
Siska,
You think so?
please.
My instinct rarely lets me down.
How do you get on with Janosch and Adder?
Oh, those two. Once in Kuttenberg, I also had a servant who pretended not to understand me and thought I did not
What is
understand
going on
him
here?
when he spoke German in my presence. But he was wrong. He is no longer my servant.
Men of the church do love their wine. That's often true. Look, there is nothing wrong with enjoying your wine. There might be something wrong if you have a bit of a problem with it, like Adwin does. But
What do you think of Kubienka?
A good warrior. But he has no morals and no manners, like all mercenaries.
I don't think he cares much about that.
And that is just the problem. How can you trust a man who does not want to be a knight?
let's.
Tell me, how did the siege of Kuttenberg go?
Ah, mon ami, poorly, poorly. But what could I do? Stand down from leading the defense like a coward? After all, I had to live up to my reputation. And at the time, it did not look hopeless at all. I thought it would be enough to stall Sigismund for a while before the Allied army arrived. And that would not have been so difficult.
Only no army arrived.
Précisément. The hope for a swift end melted away, and the courage of the burghers along with it. I, who fought in 5 countries, was relieved of command, arrested, and handed over to Sigismund.
What other countries have you fought in?
In Italy, against the English, here of course, and I will tell you about the others another time. In the meantime, however, I can pass on some of my experience to you. After all, I am not getting any younger, so it is time to pass my wisdom on to future generations.
Cannot get up to this.
I'd like to learn.
It will take some time, and a few groschen, mon ami. Acquiring my art came at great cost, so I cannot pass it on for free. especially now when I have been injustly stripped of my possessions, and I must rely only on my sharp wits. Ainsi va le destin. So, what would you like to know?
I don't know what that means. I can afford any of these just fine. Let's go with marksmanship.
Sir Vaclin, no doubt you're a master of melee weapons, but are you good with a bow?
Am I good with a bow, mon ami? You should see me hunt in the forest of Ardennes. I once ate a bison in the eye at 200 paces. You will never be that good, of course, but I will show you how to do it. And I think, with my instruction, you should manage it at perhaps 80 paces. Allons-y, mon ami. Let us not waste any time.
I'll be right there.
Okay, now, where'd he go?
We've lasted another day.
Same to you, Godwin.
Same to you. What? Hey, Kubienka, how you doing?
I wanted to ask you about the rebellious peasants.
Well, shall we meet with them?
Aye. I've changed my mind. We should join forces with them.
Great. Those fools use a secret password to recognize their own. The password is the foxes in the hen house. So, remember it.
How did you learn their secret password?
When Dry Devil's band broke up, I was looking for a company to join. Then this one time at a tavern, there was this scrawny, drunken loudmouth going on about the peasants' revolt and shouting out the password for all to hear. Some old woman from Miskowitz slapped that lad so hard his chin hit the table.
Right, so I'm supposed to look for a scrawny, drunken loudmouth.
We have plenty of those already. I reckon you ought to talk to the old crone. I have a feeling she might be the way to get to that. Try telling her the password and see what happens.
All
I
right.
think we already did this? I
hope
forget what
I won't
happened
get
now.
slapped too.
Ziska, why are you so... Why is everyone so drunk?
I bring bad news from Kuttenberg. Eric's soldiers and the town rabble have torched the Jewish quarter. Fortunately, we saved most of the people. But I doubt they can form an alliance with us now.
Fuck. Where are they now?
Samuel and the rabbi took those who survived to Colleen.
Shit. We have to find Dry Devil and Capon and decide what to do next. Come on, there's no time to waste. Right, gentlemen. I think
here
it's
we go.
clear to
Okay.
all of you what a shitty fucking mess we're in. We were caught off guard at Rabosh.
And they nearly fucking kill us all.
Yes, and they attacked the Jewish quarter.
Thanks a lot for reminding me. I almost forgot.
At least Henry here and Kubienka got most of the people out.
That's true. Good work, men. How did it all go down?
Well, to tell the truth, we were lucky as hell. We got there before it all started in earnest. That's why we managed to get those people out.
Lucky my arse. We gave those bastards a thrashing.
That is
They thought
true,
they'd looted and
but
torched the
yes.
whole place, but we scared them shitless.
We did hold
It's
them off.
nice that
well
you
enough.
found
That's
my
good.
people's suffering so entertaining. But what I want to know now is how you all intend to avenge them.
Well, what do you have in mind?
I love how it's a speech check to say nothing. So you could give a real answer and say we have to strike back, or we should wait. We should be patient and we should bide our time, which is probably the smart thing, honestly, in circumstances. Or we can just hem and haw and say something flowery that doesn't mean anything. Let's go for it. Why not?
We shouldn't give up. That's the main thing.
Except that Sigismund has the League of Lords and a whole fucking army. And what do we have? Fuck all. Come on, lads. Jobst will bring his army soon.
Gabe's
It'd be
abusing you?
fucking
Oh
mad
no.
to try on anything big before that.
Give him
It
some
might
salami.
take weeks for them to arrive. Von Berghoff will have found quarters by then. We have to get rid of Von Berghoff. It's because of him that we're in the situation we're in, after all.
You mean in the shit, Sir Hans? No need to mince words.
Throwing Hot Wheels at you. Jeez, this lad. Berghoff is just Sigismund's puppet. We need to get rid of Eric first. I think that is true. He's kind of a mad dog. When Berghoff is a threat, but he's a more measured threat. He's not going to fly off the handle and go nuts. Eric, however, is both dangerous, unpredictable, and gay. So that's a bad combination. So let's see with that.
Von Berghoff's too powerful. We don't stand a chance against him.
That wasn't why, but
It was
okay.
Eric who led the attack on the Jewish quarter. He's the one we should strike at.
But that wouldn't do us much good. Besides, who knows where the bastard is now? No.
Oh, well, okay.
Sir Hans is right. We should get rid of Von Berghoff.
That
Fine.
fucker is Sigismund's right hand. So we'll chop it off.
Why kill him? You know what ransom we can get for that bastard.
Are you all fucking daft? Von Berger was holed up in Malashov, so unless any of you can fly, we can't get to him.
Oh, that's true. To
not
take a
actually
cost
true.
like that, we'd need a dozen men, ladders, and maybe also a trebuchet or cannon.
There's no maybe about it. We'd certainly need a cannon.
So we steal the one von Berghoff used at Nebakov.
Now why don't we just steal all the silver from the Italian court and buy our own, eh? Use your head before you open your mouth.
Hang on. Maybe Janosch's idea isn't all that bad.
How do you mean, Grace? Because Eric is not a bad dog so much as he's a badly trained golden retriever who'd rather help a robber than the police, so to speak. No, I think but he was the lover of the guy we threw off the roof. And so he's very angry at Henry. And so he kind of is. I would really describe him at this point, especially as kind of mad dog. Mad dog more than bad dog.
How do you mean?
I recently sent Catherine to spy on Sigismund's military camp near Opatovitz. She told me Von Berghoff has his cannon stashed away there. But it seems things are getting a bit out of hand there. So the Prague regiment he's in charge of is going to move it to Sedlets. And it might not be that well guarded along the way.
He's kind of the anti-Henry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. We'll steal it. Yeah, we'll steal it. Why not?
So we'll steal it, right? We'll wait till they go through some ravine, and we'll shoot at them from the rocks. The way you did to us before Nebakov.
I see you've learned something from me. But it's not that simple. What we need is for one of us to get amongst the Praguers, so he can keep an eye open and tell us when they're moving out.
And if we succeed, what then? There's 5.5 of us. Even with a cannon, that's not enough to take Malashov.
There's not much we can achieve on our own.
But show me the fool who'd want to join us.
There's always a few mercenaries around, right?
And how are you going to pay them, eh? I sure as fuck haven't got the coin.
That's enough! Von Berghoff has to die. Painfully, and above all, as soon as possible. And if there are not enough of you, this might help.
Well. That's a sight for sore eyes. Why the fuck didn't you show us that earlier? We could have saved ourselves a lot of blathering.
Where did you get such a fortune? After what happened?
People in Kolin decided to help. They are looking after our refugees and want to send everyone a strong signal that we will not be silenced.
So that's why you were so eager to go there.
We really appreciate it, son. Believe me,
And we won't mind if you got a couple more persons like that.
If you will permit, monsieur, I might be able to contribute. I know a few mercenaires in this part. They may not be la cavalerie royale, but for such a purse, they will gladly tear Malishov down stone by stone.
Ah, company of mercenaries, a surprise attack, and a cannon in reserve. We could do something with that, couldn't we?
Oh, not so fast. We don't have the cannon yet.
Then we'll fucking get it. We'll find a good spot for an ambush and send someone into the camp to spy on them. What about you, Henry? You'll get yourself recruited into the Prague regiment, and when they take the cannon to Sedlitz, you'll send us a message via Catherine.
Me again. I've already snuck into the stupid camp before.
Me again? Can't someone else go?
Me and Devil have to come up with a plan. So Hans might get recognized, and the others... Well, let's just say I give you the best chance of success.
All right, then.
That's settled, then. Henry
The soberest
will go to the
one
camp.
there, that's for
Catherine
sure.
will tell you all you need to know. You'll find her in the bathhouse there. In the
Of
meantime,
course.
Ada here can go to Malashov and find out how von Burkhoff and his people are stationed there. But look, don't touch.
Za kogo ty mnie kurwa masz?
A lot of soldiers need a lot to eat. We'll have to stock up.
I'll go hunting. This tavern's a bit crammed for my liking as it is.
And what are we going to do?
We're going to prepare a warm welcome for the Praguers.
What do you say, Sir Hinek?
Well, what the fuck are you all sitting here for? Didn't you hear? The fun's about to start!
Okay, well, let's start the fun, shall we? Bump. Alright, so... It's 11:11. Okay, I have time, right? What's this? Alright, I need to get down to Apadovitz. And that means, you know what, I'm just gonna run. I'm gonna fast travel. Why not? Oh, we're going through the night. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Enemy. Let's stop and fight.
Now you're going to get it! Alert! To arms!
Show what you're made of.
Oh, there's a lot of you guys. Okay.
You'll pay for that! Watch out! What do you want?
Show your stuff!
Ah,
And that's what I call an opener. I'll beat you to a bloody pulp! What? I'm bleeding! I'll sort you out. Sucker! What the? You want to try me? Oh, what? I'm bleeding! That. I'll rip your arse open!
a lot of these guys.
What do you want? Ha! Ah! Show your stuff! I'll shoot you an extra arsehole. I can't shoot through you. I've been waiting for you.
Alright, another one down. Okay.
No match for us, fucker. I'm all yours.
Take that!
Show what you're made of!
Hiding these guys is really difficult. Okay.
Jesus!
Hold on. I can't use in combat. Shit.
Christ!
Of course not. Going down.
Show your stuff!
Another one down.
Take that! What do you want? I'll beat you to a bloody pulp, fucker! You want to try me?
We're going to gut.
Another one down. Oh!
I'm all yours. Fuck yourself. Show your stuff.
Another one down.
Come on then. You want to try me? Fucking cur! Nasty beast!
Wow, okay. I'm just gonna do this. God. See, this is the issue, too. Like, I could loot so much, so many valuables from these bastards. The problem is, then what? Am I gonna sell any of it? I have enough trouble selling all the junk I already have. I am now going to put a Dollmaker poison on my sword. Ah, welcome back, Imsimp. I'm glad your car is gassy.
I'll kill you.
Alert!
I've been waiting for you.
Don't fuck with us, you wretch!
Oh,
Christ! These cramps are horrible.
show you.
Oh, there's a lot of you guys. There's more.
Jesus, I'm hit!
Oh, I know it is spoiled.
What is...
I'm all yours!
I'll beat you to a bloody pulp, fucker! Show your stuff! You know that for us, fucker?
Oh shit.
Show what you're made of! Go fuck yourself!
I've been waiting for you!
I'll shoot your head off! I'll rip your ass open!
Show what you're made of!
Watch out! I can't get a shot in!
I'm just getting warmed up, you shit!
Fuck you!
Show your stuff! I'm a I know it was
Alright, well the Dollmaker poison is slowly taking effect here, which is good. Nothing down. How do it says like 20 guys? Yeah, I noticed. I've done this before.
Show what you're made of! I knew that spoiled. I'm all yours!
You sure you want to do that? Yeah. Woo! Alright, there we go. Armor isn't doing so hot. I'll take those. I think that's the lot of them, right? Or are there more? Like, I'm pretty sure I have killed everyone here before. Well, this is not the first time I've done this. Come on now. There we go. Imsip hammered out some classes for Old Testament Davidic Kingdom D&D. Cleric, Levite, Priest, Levite Priest, Wizard, Prophet. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I can see that. Ranger, Scout, Fighter, Champion, Paladin, Gibborim, Mighty Man, Bard or Psalmist. Yeah, that can work. I can see that. Want a comparison? I already have one of those. Air Sword Pommel I'll take, just in case. need iron. What is it, Mutt? What is it, boy? I'll take that. Now, on that note, though, I will say, I'll kind of reiterate, because I think I've said this before, really, that I think you don't necessarily need to match a character archetype with a class, right? I think that classes can be almost purely mechanical, especially in 5th edition D&D. If you're using 5th edition as a baseline, I think that you can make classes purely mechanical. Like for example, you can have a frontline fighter who is, the swordsman, who is almost the Henry type, just with lighter armor, but who is still like I fight the bad guys and I use a sword for it and I stand up to the baddies. Even really a stand-in fight type as a rogue, as the rogue character class. It's just the rogue character class is a tactical fighter that relies a lot on positioning and dexterity rather than on brute force and a whole bunch of attacks. And so the rogue doesn't need to be a thief or even all that sneaky. Right, you can have a rogue that does not even have proficiency in stealth, and there's nothing wrong with that. Right. So, especially in 5th edition, there's a big divide, or at least there can be a big divide between oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Between character class and character archetype, like what the character is. What is happening? Yes, exactly. Erica has a rogue who is lawful good and would be very upset at being called a thief. The quote expert treasure hunter. What? I will take all of this. I don't know why. I mean, it could go in the swashbuckler direction, but not necessarily. Like, you can do a thief rogue and still be a more or less a frontline fighter, or at least a skirmisher. You can do it with Scout, too. The Scout subclass can do that, can do the skirmishing kind of thing. Although they're better at range, but they can definitely do it. The Swashbuckler subclass can work. Thief Rogue can do it. You could do it with an Arcane Trickster, but you would not be optimized into what Arcane Tricksters are particularly good at, but you can do it if you pick the right spells and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's definitely a thing you can do. It's definitely plausible. Alright, I need somewhere where I can wash, because I just got the stank on me. Did they have a wash trough here? The Padowitz. God, look at all this Apatowitz meat I'm getting. This is absurd. They just leave it all over the place. But yes, no, she was a thief archetype, just like Bilbo. It was like Bilbo Baggins was a Ravensbeak. Oh, I love the Ravensbeak as far as actual weapons go, but it does not fit with my build like at all. Back to Corbin. But yeah, just like Bilbo was a burglar, but refused to call himself that throughout the entire adventure. Yeah. Honestly, the only character class that really requires a specific archetype is probably the paladin. A paladin that is... maybe this is just my old school bias coming in, but I don't think an irreligious paladin can make any sense. You really need a kind of divine devotion for a paladin to be a paladin. But that's it. That's it, really. I do think that that any of the other classes is can really be character agnostic, so to speak. Oh, I didn't see your campaign story. Hold on, let me look. Campaign setting I have in mind, circa 1000 BC. You and your company are in a recently occupied Philistine town. And the secret cult of Dercato is amok. People have gone missing. There are whispers of dark rites performed in secret beneath the city in a hidden shrine to the false goddess. That is... okay, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. It's a very typical D&D campaign, but definitely has the unique character of the Old Testament setting. So I dig it. I dig it. It's a very typical urban D&D campaign, though. Not that that's wrong. Not that that's bad. It just means these things are archetypes and stereotypes for reasons, because they work. Hey, Pebs. I'm gonna go somewhere elsewise. Yeah, okay, yeah, look. Olaf, I know that... okay, Olaf says the devotion of a paladin doesn't necessarily have to be to a god. No. It could be to a people or a concept, either something more or less abstract than a deity. It can, under the current rule set, yeah. Oh, I'm trespassing. Okay, whatever. Technically, yes. The problem is that is... I think that there are issues with that, two real major issues with that. One, the source of magic. The source of a paladin's magic is supposed to be his devotion, right? And if your devotion is to an ideal, then it's hard to make sense of where that magic comes from. Unless you're basically gonna rewrite the class that your magic comes from a separate source from your pact, from your oath, not pact, your oath. In which case, fine, but you're kind of writing away the flavor of the paladin. The other part of the paladin is that it is more so than any of the other classes. It is very specific to a particular historical setting. Right, that it is the paladin archetype is very much rooted in medieval Christendom, and in the Grail stories especially. And without that kind of context, specifically, I would say without the context of monotheism, the paladin doesn't quite make sense. I don't think it works as a class. I will say likewise, though, the monk also does not make sense in a European high fantasy setting, or European fantasy setting at all in general. I do think that the monk, unless you're going to dramatically reflavor things, the monk is specifically Eastern. It's the Oriental martial artist, like very, very straightforwardly and specifically. Now that said, like I said about 5th edition, the character classes are rather character agnostic. You can use the mechanics of any given class and reflavor them to your heart's content. Right, so even something like, for example, even a warlock, if you just want the magic, there's nothing against just saying, well, no, I'm not making a pact with a demon, right? If you wanted to do the Fiend Pact Warlock, you could reflavor that as I draw my power from I don't know, the negative, the lower planes, right? You just draw power from the lower planes or something like that. Right? There's nothing about the Warlock intrinsically that says it has to be a pact with some kind of entity. I mean, yes, it says that in the flavor text, but that's just flavor text. In 5th edition, you really can just take the mechanics from a class and then apply it to whatever character you want to do. As for the paladin, though, I'll post a link to this as well. That there's a D&D and especially an old school D&D channel that I follow quite a bit. RPG Pundit, Karl Urbanski, I think his name is. He was actually one of the consulting designers for 5th edition back 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was. And he's the one who made this argument, and I think he's actually right about paladins, that they really only make sense in a particular historical mythological context.
I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit and born of the Virgin Mary. He suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into hell. On the 3rd day, he rose again. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. He will come again to judge the living and the dead. I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting. Amen.
Okay, so Imson Pass about a setting. How can I flesh out the Giborim David's mighty men? There's only one God, so shouldn't the Giborim be godly warriors who follow God's anointed in David? Yes, I think that can work. Instead of spells, what should the prophets and Levites have? Miracles, like Elijah's making it rain, making flour overflow. Okay, you might want to... As much as I do think that 5th edition has the excellent characteristic of being... Oops. My bad. Sorry about that. I accidentally flipped a switch on my controller. As much as I think that 5th edition has the tremendous benefit of being extremely versatile, and being almost setting agnostic, I think that another system might work better, at least flavor-wise. I would look into some of the OSR systems, the Old School Revival or Old School Revolutions, depending on who you ask, the Old School Revival systems, which are heavy modifications on AD&D or AD&D 2nd edition. In particular, I would look to Lion and Dragon, which is Karl Urbanski's system, which is set in, it's specifically set in the War of the Roses. So it's kind of high medieval, and it's based on a lot of both Christian mythological magic as well as Kabbalistic magic. And so I think that would probably work better for you in terms of if you're trying to get the mechanics to fit well with the setting, rather than having to really twist the mechanics to fit it. It would be easier for you as the setting designer and as the DM, broadly speaking, to fit everything together. I think it would be easier for you to do it that way, rather than having to sort of massage everything into place. You know what I mean? Christian mythological magic, meaning, okay, so, God, I need to get into this, don't I? I'll have Pebbles walk us there because I have a lot to discuss. So, magic, as understood in the Middle Ages, was almost purely evocation or evocative. There was some, basically, what we would call enchantment. That's not a road. Okay, darn. Okay. Oh. Okay, fine, whatever. But magic was tied to either was typically highly ritualistic, and was often almost liturgical in form. A lot of the magic done in the Middle Ages was done by priests. Now, this isn't to say that they were supposed to do this. This was taboo at least, heretical at worst, or blasphemous at worst, even further. But for the most part, magic throughout the Christian Middle Ages was thought of as evoking higher powers, whether that is angelic powers, whether that is demonic powers, or whether that is longavi, right? Elven or fey powers, that sort of thing. That thing, whatever it is between man and angels. Okay? But it is evoking some other power and channeling it or binding it to your will to do some feat, right? And so what we see in terms of magic in the Middle Ages, that wasn't just it was either say calling upon the angels, or making some kind of a deal or a pact with a longavus, in other words, an elf creature, or a spirit of the air, or that kind of thing. Or it was demonic. And there was relatively good demonic magic and relatively bad demonic magic. Bad kind of demonic magic is making some kind of pact with the devil. That's witchcraft, right? The relatively good kind, but still taboo and mostly prohibited, was demon binding. So you would call upon a demon. You would command that demon, typically using the name of Christ, and the magician in this case, again usually a priest, was you had to be in a state of sacramental grace. You had to you typically often would even use the Blessed Sacrament in your magical rituals in order to bind and control this demon, so that you can use its power in some way or another. And you had to be tremendously virtuous in order to not just fight off a demon, but to assert control over a demon, which is intrinsically far more powerful than you are, you as a human being. Right? And so that was the most common type of magic throughout the Christian Middle Ages, or medieval Christendom, especially in the High Middle Ages. And I will say that this is largely what Lion and Dragon uses. These kinds of bits of magic. The only other exception to this would be things like there are some like big flashy spells, but again, they're mostly the kind of things that you would prepare in advance and have a have some ritual that will imbue magical energy into an object, that object can then be used to do some magical feat, or can be used in combat or anything like that, right? That's the kind of thing that might have been more flashy, showy, right up in your face kind of magic. I have a book on this. Where is it? Please stand by while I'm walking down the road. Let me see if I can find it real quick. found it. Oh, good. Fallen. Oh. That. Onius. Ilias. Warfare. Yeah, I can't find it. Shoot. Well. No luck. No luck so far. I'll see if I can find the book that I'm thinking of, maybe to share with you guys on Discord or next week or something like that. But we'll see if I can find it. I know I've got it around here somewhere, but it basically just it outlines a lot of the common ritualistic practices in the Christian Middle Ages. All right, Imsim says, how much should I develop this world? Should there be other towns, cities, countryside? How many shops should I develop? How many NPCs, enemies, etc.? Okay, so first of all, this is a good... Actually... Let's say this. If you have something like this, that's enough of a game world, and then some. But yeah, no, you're right, Olaf, that does depend on the players and what they're going for. You can absolutely successfully run a complete campaign in just a city, in one city. Maybe you'll expand that to a city in the surrounding towns and countryside. Maybe you will have it between a couple of cities, have two major points and then have little points in between, something like that. Or you might even have a big sprawling world. Tell you what, I'll put some stuff in the gaming channel on Discord after we're done. I'm actually going to be done pretty soon. I think I'm going to wrap up shortly. And I'll give you some examples as to what I built for the different phases of my current D&D campaign. I think that'll give you some idea of how much you need to build in advance. And I will say, how much you need to build in advance is very little. If you set it up right, you can have it set up so that things get revealed gradually, and that means you can build it gradually. As long as you have a good outline for things, you don't have to have all the NPCs that they're going to encounter. You can do that with random generators, with tables, with a list of names to use, and then you go to the store and you buy this product, and then you move along, kind of thing, that you don't need a shopkeeper NPC with a funny voice, right? Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true. Your players can lie about what they want. Yeah, players can lie about what they want. That is something to watch out for. Erica, very good point. Yeah. You have a lot of experience with that. Unsure if you want to flesh out Jerusalem? No. Unless they're definitely going there, no. And even if they are definitely going there, the best thing to do... Again, I'll show you what I got for right now, for my current campaign. The best thing to do for a sprawling metropolis is not to have all of the details filled in at a granular level, but rather to have something like set locations throughout the city and random shit in between that is generated as you go. That is basically what I'm doing currently. That is the easiest way to do it. It is modeled after Denerim, in how Denerim is set up in Dragon Age Origins. If you've played Dragon Age Origins, or if not, you can always watch my live streams of Dragon Age Origins. The city of Denerim is a big, sprawling metropolis. It's a big city. But in that city, there are something like 4 or 5 locations. right? And those are the actual points of interest that matter to the campaign. And between those, there's chances for random encounters, right? But that's really it. That said, I've also ran D&D games in the city of Waterdeep. And the city of Waterdeep in Forgotten Realms has so much detail to it because so many people have run the game that almost every building on a given on the big scale map of this city, which is like twice the size of medieval London, kind of big city. Almost every single building is listed as to what it is. Like, it is that granularly detailed. It's crazy. So yeah, and it depends on how much improv that you want to be able to do. And I think that random encounter tables or random tables in general can help tremendously with fleshing out your world. So you build a custom table for the things that you know you want to intersperse throughout, rather than just building out all of the details specifically that you don't know if your players will run into or not. And then write it down. Write down where it is after they encountered it, so you know that so things can stay consistent moving forward. But anyway, yeah, we'll chat about this in the gaming channel Discord. Until then, though, I think we're about out of time. It is getting close to midnight. And like I said, if I'm going to be putting stuff in there, then so let me get out of Apatowitz first before I... Pebbles. Please, Pebbles. Get out of Apatowitz.
Easy!
Okay. I'm out of Apatowitz. I've done it. Huzzah. Now let's call it a night. So anyway, thanks you guys. Had a good time. Hope you guys did too. Wonderful evening. I'll see you guys next time. Presumably, that'll be Thursday. For more Expedition 33, we're going to be continuing basically the dungeon crawl to get to Clea, or Painted Clea, I guess. No, Imsimp. No, that stop. That's not my sign off. You know what my sign off is. Don't try and improvise. No. Don't be safe. And don't be yourself either. Be Christ that lives in you. There you go. Yeah, no, I see. I like my old sign off better. I like the one I've been using now for a few years. Don't be safe, be well, and more importantly, be good. I'm gonna leave it at that. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.